All right, Trail Network fam, welcome back to another episode 96, you guys. We are getting up there. So excited to be here with Katie Asmuth today. I'm one of your hosts, Hilary Yang. Together with Rachel Drake and Leah Yingling, we are the Trail Network podcast, and we love the chance to sit down and catch up about our lives and just hear what's going on. And today's episode really is about that, since Katie has been traveling for the last couple weeks in New Zealand. And you've had more than a few adventures. I've seen little snippets of them, but I am really excited to hear the recap of everything that you've been up to. So welcome back. And how is the jet lag, Katie?
My goodness. You know what? The jet lag's not too bad because we're 27 hours difference. So it's really just like 3 hours.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
I never really thought about that for
Yeah.
New Zealand. I guess that's the pro of flying all the way across the
when
world.
you go all the way across the world, so I had 2 Saturdays and then didn't have a Monday or whatever it was when I got there and came back. But it was not too bad. Jet lag was fine. It wasn't nearly as bad, honestly, as how it will be when I go to Europe this summer. So yeah, not too bad. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling energized. Man, we had a good time. Oh, it was so fun. It was everything I wanted. Yeah. I mean, I didn't get the ticket. We can get into that. That was the only thing that didn't happen.
Spoiler, Katie.
Spoiler alert. So for those that don't know, should I just give a little
recap? And I was going to
recap?
say, there's lots of things that I do want to celebrate too, which one of them was your birthday when you first arrived there. But I know you did go over there with a specific purpose. So yeah, let's chat about that a little bit and sort of why you ended up in New Zealand, and then maybe how that unfolded.
Sure. Okay. So I was going for a golden ticket. So for those that don't know or maybe new to trail, Western States 100 is, and UTMB week is the two big events in our sport. And for me, Western States is personally very important to me. I've raced in the top 10 3 times. 2 of those were in the top 5, really made my career at Western States, and just generally love the community, love the course, love the history, love everything about Western States. So I wanted to get back to Western States. And the only way to do so is if you get in on the lottery, you get in on a sponsor slot, which there's very few of, or you race your way in with a golden ticket race. So Tarawera was a golden ticket race, as well as Black Canyon 100K. And it happened on the same day, but because I was in New Zealand, I could actually follow Black Canyon because it was the next day technically on the calendar. Anyways, but it was very fun. I'm sure you listened to the Black Canyon recap with Hilary and Leah last week. It was so fun to listen back to your guys' experience. Oh my gosh.
Did it feel like you were there with us, Katie?
I did. Well, I was following along so closely. And I should say, just because we're on the topic, it's very wild to go into this big, it really felt like a once in a lifetime experience, taking the whole family to New Zealand. My birthday, my 40-year-old birthday was on race day.
Kind of a big deal.
It was so fun. And then also my first trail run of my entire life was in New Zealand. So anyway, we went over there knowing how cool is this? Now I'm getting paid to come over here as a trail runner. That's so wild. With 2 kids on my 40th birthday, going for a golden ticket. It was just this wonderful, amazing experience of full circle in all the ways. And just, we decided, Pete and I, my husband, we're going to have the best time no matter what. We're just going to embrace this, ticket or no ticket. This is all about the memories. This is all about what a cool life we're living and no regrets. So anyway, it was very fun to wake up the next morning after my race, heading to the award ceremony, and just my phone blowing up, everything about Black Canyon, and it just, the world moves on, it was now we're on to Black Canyon. Nobody cares about Tara, which is the way life is.
It was funny.
Yeah, it's just a reality check,
Barkley started the same time. It was a weird weekend. There was just a lot going on. And I was following Tarawera as we were driving out to Black Canyon, or I guess the day before with all the pre-race stuff. But it was sort of trippy, just with the time zones, and then all these different corners of the sport happening. It was hard to focus on everything, but it was really fun to follow your race. And like the fact that it wasn't exactly on the same day meant that we could actually follow what was going on.
Right.
So
But they were
that
both
was cool.
technically February 14th, which is very fun.
Yeah.
So it was fun for me because I'm watching this and just getting inspired and stoked all over again, like my wrecked body going like, I want to do it again.
And then you have trouble going down the stairs.
Exactly, right? Like, I'm like, just get me to the hot tub. But I felt just in awe of the performances at Black Canyon. And clearly that was in my opinion, just, oh my God, the race of the century.
It was a throwdown.
It was
That was
insane.
fun.
Oh my God, it was so insane. It was so fun.
All right, you get there. I know you had a couple days before race day, right? So you're just sort of like settling in. Do you do anything exciting before the race, or were you pretty focused on just like dealing with I guess not crazy jet lag, but just sort of like getting ready and being in race mode?
Yeah, I mean, you're still tired, right? Like it's a 12.5 hour flight, and you don't sleep. So you're still kind of out of it, even though it was just that really 3 hours difference in that way. But it just, yeah, you're tired from all the travel. And it took a lot of planning, as you can imagine, to be ready to go and leave the kids with all the things that they have going on in their life and having them get packed before I leave and all that stuff. So just to get on the flight was like, and getting over there when I landed, I was immediately like, oh God, this is very hot and very humid. And I had prepped for this. I mean, Hilary, we were on a couple calls when I was in the sauna together. You're like, are you texting me? Are you in the sauna right now?
Your face is getting redder and redder as we're on our call.
And then it's like phone, then disconnect, like, oh yeah, phone blew up. The temperature's too hot. Anyway, so I did do a lot of heat training, but yeah, I think the thing I was most worried about when I got there was how I was going to handle my nutrition and I knew this going in, it was going to be hot, but it was like, oh wow, I am drenched. Like it's like I jumped in a swimming pool after every run. But I was able to see the last 30 miles of the course. And like in those 5 days, which was super fun. I ran with Beth McKenzie. I ran with Cole Watson, Emily Hoggood a bit. It was just really great. Had great dinners with Robin Lesh and her partner Teddy. Like it was just really fun. My friend Keith Yanoff, shout out. He came over from Mammoth to celebrate my 40th. Not really. He was already in Australia.
That's really cute.
He was already in Australia, and then he was going to race the 50K, and then he got injured, so he was just there having fun with me.
But I do love, Katie, when you travel, I feel like there's something about that where you kind of seek out everyone else that's also made that big effort to be somewhere. And from my perspective, it was fun to see getting out with all these people who you might otherwise you would see them at a race in the US, but you wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to like go get a run in. But because you're all somewhere new and you're all exploring together, it's sort of like, well, where are you eating dinner? And like, what are you doing
let's
for a
get together.
run?
Well, and usually I have the kids, and so it's
fun.
just different. It's so fun being a solo traveler, being like, wow, you're a solo traveler too. Let's do it. I was going to meet up with Lucy and Ruth, but they both came in on different days when I was leaving to go get the kids. So anyways, it was just a really fun in that way. It felt really like a community when you got there and everybody kind of connecting, and it was great to see the course beforehand. That was clutch. So yeah, I guess that brings me, I then went the Wednesday before the race, drove back to Auckland 3 hours, picked up the kids and Pete, and then we went on a little vacay. It was Liam's birthday. He turned 9. We went and checked out the Waitomo glowworm cave. So cool. If you go to New Zealand, you have to do it. And
that sounds like right up a 9-year-old's alley.
Oh my gosh, we went ziplining on his birthday. It was so fun. We slept in this like old Vietnam War like jet plane. It was like a refurbished into a hotel. It was really cool. He was so stoked on it.
Wow.
So it's just really fun and honestly distracting from the hype of Tarawera, just feeling like, and then I showed up, we got back to Rotorua where the race is on Friday before the race, and then I could just kind of settle in and, pack up the bags and make sure that I had my aid station stuff ready to go, and just kind of chilled. Our hotel had this private little hot tub in the back from natural hot springs. It was so cool.
Wow.
It was super cheap too. So if anybody's going to New Zealand, hit me up if they're going to Tarawera, because this place was awesome. Anyway, it was great. And I had also a huge pool for the kids. So it just felt like really easy. And I don't know, showed up on race morning feeling stoked. I was like, I'm 40. Let's go. Like, I don't know. It's really fun.
New category.
It was, and it just felt like I felt grounded. I felt whole. I felt ready to throw down. I felt like I could trust my training. It was really nice seeing familiar faces. I saw Ryan Thrower there and Addie, of course, they were there together at the start line, and that was fun. But for the most part, you don't see as many familiar faces as you usually do before a race start in the States. And so that was kind of made those connections even more special.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So
But you felt very
I
present,
felt
like, I know it
present.
was quite rainy, right? Like, the weather was different than you expected.
Right, because when I got
Do you
there, it
wanna
was
talk about
so
that?
hot. Yeah, my kids in
Yeah.
Mammoth have been, like, bundled up. It's been cold, and so, obviously, it's snowing. There was a massive storm while we were gone, actually, but, like, the kids are in, snowshoes and Uggs and, like, it's cold, and I was like, "Pete, make sure the kids don't bring their Uggs." Sandals, Crocs
Flip-flops.
only, and it was so okay, it was so rainy. It was weird because it was pouring rain, but hot still. I mean,
Like,
at the
tropical
first
feeling?
it was so, like, muggy still, like a hot rain. Like, I was still hot, like, I still used ice even though you're drenched, which was new. Like, when you're running, you don't get the relief of, like, the wind
Mhm.
hitting you when you're running wet. Yeah, it just kind of felt really muggy, and it started out just kinda drizzling, and it was really cool. The Maori, um, group that performed for us, they put on a haka performance right before the race. So it was really cool. It kinda gets you really
So
hyped
cool.
up, and yeah, the Maori tradition felt very, I don't know, I think that was a part of the grounding experience. Like, you felt really connected to the people and to the trail itself, and feeling
Mm.
really, like, honored and privileged to run on their land, and that was a really cool way to start. And it was just kinda drizzling in the beginning, and I was running with Caitlin Fielder, felt really good. The first 10 miles kinda clicked off, like, running, I don't know, we were running, I should look back, like, probably 6:40 pace, like, not too crazy, but, like, comfortable. Like, I didn't feel out of my comfort zone, felt good. And then, yeah, mile 10, I stopped to get some ice, and they didn't have any. Oh, they did. It was just in a big chunk and it wasn't broken up. So I, like, stopped to do that, and I, like, it wasn't available. So I, like, go back to start running again. And the group that I was with just, like, took up off this hill, and that's where the separation happened. And it was like, oh
Mm.
shoot. Like, I just lost, like, so then I pushed to try and keep up. And then I was like, no, I'm not pushing on this hill on a 10 mile, like, I'm 10 miles in. And yeah, I think I wish I would have pushed harder on that. Cause I do think it's really important in these races to not let the elastic snap and let, the group kind of get away from you. And on that climb is when Ruth Croft passed me, and I was like, oh, she's going for the win. She
There we
looked
go.
great. Yeah. She was like, passed me like I was standing still. And yeah, but I felt it was like, at that point, it felt really good. Like, I'm still in the mix, it was like very much like I was a part of it. It was like Ruth Croft and Caitlin Fielder and, um, let's see, Juliet and, uh, who else? Honica, my teammate, Holly. Like, it was just like there was a group of us, but it felt very, I don't know, like, it was so early. And then the gap started increasing, and I couldn't hold on.
Now,
It sucked.
curious about that, and we talked a lot about that at the Black Canyon commentary. Obviously, Leah and I spent many hours analyzing when people made moves. Do you think if you had stayed with them, let's just, like, hypothetical, if you had stayed with them and they'd gone up the hill faster than you wanted to go up, would you have, like, overextended yourself to stay with them? Do you think that would have been better than, like, what you did, which was sort of recognizing, like, no, this pace doesn't feel comfortable anymore. I'm just gonna, like, kind of run my own pace. And because you'd kind of already lost them with your stop, it was like that made sense. But I'm just like, it's such a struggle to know whether to, like, push yourself to stay with them, because later on, do you feel like that would have pulled you, like that pace?
Well, and I think, honestly, in this race specifically, I didn't know how bad it was going to get with the rain, because at
Right.
the beginning was very, like, runnable and kind of misty, right? But then it was like torrential downpour. And so I think that made the decision different, because you became more of, like, instead of racing, you were just surviving. Like, I'm just trying to move through this train as fast as possible. There was this underlying stoke and, like, just giddiness, because you're splashing in puddles and you're like totally covered in mud. And I mean, there's this one section, and Lottie Brinks had actually told me there's this one section, if it's really muddy, you'll slip for sure. But I mean, it's no joke. It's like a couple miles of this descent, and you're literally skiing like down this descent, and then you slip and fall, and then you like try and get back up, and then you like grab onto a branch to try and hold yourself. I mean, it was wild. I mean, totally, totally wild. But then, and then when it flattens out, then you're just in so much mud and you're trying to move as fast as you can through it. And I think there was a part of me, I'm like, if I was with a group, maybe that would have been even more dangerous because I want to see my footing and exactly where I'm at. But I'm also like, the longer it takes me to run through this, the more chewed up this course is. So it just felt like this kind of balance between, I don't want to get hurt and I'm sort of willing to get hurt for a ticket. Which sounds crazy, but I literally thought about that in a minute. I'm like, you have to take risks. Like, you have to go for it. You can't slow down because of this train, but you had to slow down. Like, there was no choice. But it wasn't like I couldn't stop like putting gas on the pedal.
Yeah.
Like, you had to keep moving as fast as you could through it. It felt as if everybody just moved faster through it than I did, I guess. But honestly, I was over the moon to get out of that really technical section without any injuries. I did fall so many times, like countless times. You're constantly slipping, using your stabilizers, just like everything's kind of cramping weird because I've
I was
been
going to
running
say,
I've been running on
the
technical train in
cramping.
months, like in Mammoth, I have to drive down to Dirt and Bishop and it's run on the treadmill. Like, I haven't been using those muscles. So that was definitely made it harder and definitely slowed my time, like my overall time down. I was like significantly like over an hour slower than I wanted to be. But that was the train too. And honestly, and then there'd like be an open up, like you'd open up and be able to descend really fast. And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. And then you drop down to like a 6:15 pace on this amazing descent. And you're like, oh, I'm feeling good, And then a like crazy technical section happens again. And you're just like, don't die. And so you slow down again. So it just felt like this it was hard to get into a flow because it was raining so hard. The technicality, the climbs, you would do like one step up and kind of slide back 4 steps down, and you just, at a certain point, you just kind of have to kind of laugh and think, this is comedic, this is wild. Our sport is wild. I
Well,
trained so hard for this and this is not what I trained for,
and that's
Yeah.
both the beauty of like travel racing and also just like trail running with these conditions that are just like some days it doesn't matter how much you put the work in. Like, if you get weather like that, I mean, first of all, everyone's in the same boat, but
Right.
at the same point, some people have more familiarity with that terrain than others, right? And it's just not something you would encounter in your day to day. Like, it reminds me of when I ran Thailand by UTMB in 2021, and it was the same sort of thing where it was pouring for a while, tropical, and they were sending us down these ravines that they'd use machetes to clear, and I was using the vines like
Yep.
Tarzan
Yeah,
style.
totally.
And then
Yeah,
at some
that's what
point
we
you just
did.
start giggling because you're just like, in my whole life, I have never done this before.
Right,
And there's
like
a
my arms
photographer
are
at the
sore
bottom,
and there's
like,
no poles. Like, what's happening? Yeah.
you're just sort of like, this is a new experience, and I would really rather not have it in the middle of a race like this, but also like, this is what I'm being given, right? Like, this is the day you were given.
It's the day you're
And
given.
it's
And it
so
was literally like,
interesting.
just keep doing what you could do. Just keep doing what you could do. Like,
Yeah.
just stay in
Yeah.
this because I'm running as fast as I physically can through this train. And, and ultimately, um, yeah, I got passed by Holly, who she ended up keeping this gap that I couldn't touch. And it was tough
Did you
because
see her? Did you know where she
I
was at
no,
all when she
Pete
passed
would
you?
tell me, and I was like, "Oh wow!" Like, she put in a huge on that section. She just moved through that train way faster than I did, and I kept trying on the more runnable stuff. Like, I'm like, "This is what I can throw down on," and I would like, I went so deep, like trying to go primal. I went deep. I was not trying to go primal. I was primal. I was like grunting, like the last maybe 15K, you're running past all these 50Kers and like the back of the pack, and the course is so chewed up. I mean, as you can imagine, it's just so much mud. There's thousands of people on this, and it's just, I'm thinking about the poor trail. Like, when it rains, I don't even like to go out on trails because I don't want to mess up the trail. This trail is destroyed. Like, it was so bad, but clearly it's used to rain. But anyway, but yeah, just being like, excuse me, it's coming through, just like grunting past these beautiful souls that are just like working so hard too. And I'm like, just trying to charge.
Just let me
I'm like, I'm trying to
through.
get this ticket, gotta go. Like, good job, but really working hard. And yeah, I couldn't close the gap. But I finished the race, Pete. It was really fun actually. The last 4 miles, 4.7 miles, you can have someone pace you in, which usually doesn't happen outside of the US. And so that was really cool. Pete ran with me, and
Aw.
that was really, really fun. I mean, I was not talking, so he was able to be like, on your left, great job, and say all the things I want to say. And I finished, and I just like collapsed at the finish line and was like, I gave it my all. I don't have anything left. I don't know what else I could have done. So that's so gratifying, Hill. Like, honestly, to be able to
Mm.
finish the race being like, I gave it my all. I tried so hard. Um, and I got there and everybody sang happy birthday to me. It was very sweet. I know. And
It just kinda gave me chills,
it was
Katie,
very
because
sweet.
I know how hard you worked, I know what you put into that training, and I'm just so proud of you for, like, taking the day in stride, and it would be so easy to just get bummed because it wasn't what you trained for, and it wasn't like, you couldn't really go to the full potential of that part of your training, but you did with the mental part of it. Like, I feel like you really leaned into that, and it sounds like you were so present and you were doing everything you could despite what's going on. You're troubleshooting, you're just dealing with it, you're not letting that sort of stop you, and I feel like that's something that you've just, like, really had to learn the last few years and really dig into,
Yeah,
and I'm
because I've
really, really
done
proud of
that,
you for
but
that.
it'd been a bit, right? Like,
Yeah.
but this time it felt like I was fit enough to do it. Whereas I
Mhm.
felt like at canyons, I was barely surviving and I was like not running. I'm like, I can't move faster than this. I'm like running 10-minute miles on this flat because my quads are shot. Like, it wasn't like
Mhm.
that. Like, I was fit. I just I did my best. Like, I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't. And so, and I was talking to Lucy a little bit about this after the race because I was like, she was really bummed. She's like, I believed I could do this. I'm fit enough to get a ticket, And I'm like, I hear you, but she was really disappointed. And this is public. I would never say something that she didn't put on social media. But I just can't live in disappointment, Hell. That's not how I want to live my life. I think there's a balance for me personally. I'm going to speak for myself. For me personally, there's a difference between never feeling satisfied with a result that you feel like you could do more, right? I felt like I did my best on that day and I can't be disappointed. I can't live in disappointment all the time. Like, it's the journey, not the destination. Like, hell, I trained my tush off. I didn't have any niggles for the last, I don't know. I don't remember the last time I was injured. And so it was a great training block. It was so fun to train. It was so fun to throw down. I'm stoked. Like, what's there to be sad about? Like, I got beat by 4 people and they destroyed it. And I couldn't hang and I didn't run as fast as they did. That's awesome for them. And I'm really excited for them, honestly. So I don't know. I kind of take it in stride where you can only do your best. And it feels like there's always things you can learn. And, I think there's that quote, like, if you didn't win, you learned. And there's that idea of I learned a ton. So for me, I guess
Mm.
that is a win. Um, yeah,
Man, I'm so proud of you, Katie. I'm so friggin' proud of you. Like, that it's so interesting. Like, you put it out there, we have these big goals, especially with the golden tickets, with these races that are just increasingly competitive. You can't control who else shows up on the day. Like, all you can control is you. And to just, like, also appreciate what you got out of it, and like, really have gratitude for that and feel like that was a full experience, I think is such a beautiful way to look at it. And honestly, like, you're gonna get so much more out of the sport, like, wherever it takes you and wherever the golden ticket chase takes you, which it's fun to have that.
it's
Like,
fun.
keep dreaming big,
Right.
keep having that, like, keep going for it. But also, like, if you show up at every event and you're disappointed because it didn't work out, that's a lot of time, that's a lot of energy, that's a lot
Honestly,
of your
you'd be
life.
disappointed all the time because the chances of having that miracle like race, that perfect race that just went so well is so fleeting and few and far in between. So it just feels like when you get those wins, maybe not an actual win for, but like if you get those perfect days and you're just like, yeah, that was exactly how I wanted to execute and I did it. Amazing, right? But if those days don't usually happen, right? And usually there's a lot of learnings. And even when you do win, there's a ton of learnings, right? So it just feels like kind of owning that part of the sport and feeling as if train your tush off, do everything you can to make yourself on that day proud. And I think I did that. And there's nothing more I could have wanted. Like I gave it my all and I'm really proud of myself. And I put a race I'm together that I'm really proud of. And sure, there's things I would change. Sure, there's learnings I had. And now I'm taking those and I'm taking them to UTMB, So that feels good. That feels fun to have this next big challenge. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really pumped about the next chapter too. So I don't know. Next year I'll go all in Western States chasing again, but it feels good to kind of accept like, all right,
Yeah.
I tried.
Yeah.
3 golden ticket races in the last 2 years. Like we're good. Like let's try a new challenge, a new journey. And that's going to be UTMB for me. So yeah.
I can't believe that you, Rachel, and Leah are all lining up for UTMB this year.
I'm
Oh
so
my gosh.
excited about that.
Almost the entire podcast, guys.
Watch out. It'll be fun to see how differently we like go at it, like how our training will be different or how, our perspective on the race. I mean, they've raced before in Sham and I haven't. So I have a lot to glean from them, which will be fun. So
we'll have to do an episode of just like crash course on everything Katie needs to know.
Let's do it. We need to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people that could get something out of that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far away from Tarawera yet because I
Okay.
have a few more questions about it.
Yes.
First of all, I'm thinking about you soaking wet in the rain and all the things that happen when we're soaking wet and moving our bodies. And for me, I am like Chafe City. That was like one of my biggest things when I did that race in Thailand. I got this weird rash on the inside of my legs that I'd never gotten before. All these things started coming up that were just like new. Did you have any like weird things where you're like, okay, well, I never like thought to think about that, but like now this is really bothering me? Was there stuff like that going on with the soaking wet clothes?
Yes. Okay. So specifically about soaking wet clothes, I was surprised. I've raced every race and with a running belt. And I chafed like badly from my running belts, which has never happened in all the years of running. And that was pretty wild for me. Cause I was like, what is that? Like I thought it was a gel that was sticking out or something. And no, it was just from the rubbing. Which I'm not going to say the brand of the running belt. But it was just, that's just never happened to me before. And actually speaking of running belts, it's interesting, but both Ruth Croft and Dan Jones didn't wear vests. They only wore running belts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they carried their mandatory gear in their running belt, which I thought was really interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. At Black Canyon, everyone had a vest except for Ann Flower, and she ran with a running belt the whole race. So I don't know. It's something that like if you train a certain way, it's totally fine and none of these issues come up. But then like in a scenario where you're soaking wet, it's like all of a sudden a vest could be a huge problem or yeah.
I think also because I was soaking wet, things were just like tighter. Like my vest, for instance, I usually have a good system about where my gels are and what I need to be eating that hour is on like this pocket. And then the trash goes in this pocket. And then, like I know where things are, but because everything was drenched, everything was just kind of harder to get to. It felt like when I was trying to get into my running belt, it just felt, I was like, where is everything? And I didn't have time or really time because it was so technical. Like I had to wait until I could have, a less technical spot to be able to try and get my fuel, which was really a problem. Probably should have slowed down and just gotten the fuel in instead of waiting for a non-technical spot because there wasn't. You're
like still waiting 3 miles later.
It's too long and I need to actually fuel. So that was a problem and I really need to have that organized and dialed for UTMB, like big time. That would be a game changer. So yeah, I think that would be the biggest things about being so wet and just generally like, I ended up taking off my hat because it was soaking wet and then it was like dripping into my face. But then you take your hat, you put it back on and then it like helps the rain from going into your face. But then like the hat on is dripping anyway. So you're just like, can't see well.
You're a hot
You're
mess.
just a hot mess. Like at one point, Ryan, there was this gorgeous waterfall and I ran by Ryan Thrower and I was like, Ryan, look, and like whatever. And I was so excited. And I was thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I look like a dying wet rat out here. Like I am so like, do not take
You can
photos of
see
me.
it. You're just like, you're like, I can already see this photo and it's not good.
Like it is so, well, because I had my hat off. So it was like my hair is like matted down weird. Anyway, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is just ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. Everything's ridiculous. Anyways, but that was fun. Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing when it was
How
wet.
was your nutrition? I know you said you have trouble getting it out of your pack, but like how did it go? And your like just hydration and electrolytes and all of that with the just totally different temperatures.
Before the race, we had an episode where I talked about my aid station transitions and sort of my ideas for nutrition fueling. And what I decided was to use soft flasks with precision fuel and hydration in my soft flasks and to carry them like all I would need. I think I carried 6 bottles of empty flasks in my running belt for the first half of the race. And then, of course, I carried the 2 to start. So it was significant and just kind of annoying. And back to, I guess, the chafing, that was probably a part of it because I was carrying so much volume in that running belt that I don't normally do. But I really wanted that precision fuel hydration to be ready to go because the on-course nutrition wasn't something I was used to. So I did that and that worked brilliantly. And to the point where I'm like, thank God I had all of those carbs in those bottles because that was the thing that was a no-brainer. It was so hot and humid that you had to drink no matter what. Like I was very thirsty all day, even though I was taking in actually more than I was planning with hydration because it was so hot. So I listened to my body there. But if I didn't have those carbs, I would have really been screwed. But I will say I did a really good job for the first half of the race. And then, man, it just got it was pouring so hard. And like, you're just surviving, like we talked about, that it was like, it just wasn't a priority to eat, which is definitely an amateur mistake and a problem. And I know better, but I would wait until, like I said, to start eating until there was less technicality. And I needed to probably just slow down and take something. But yeah, it was tough balance, guys, because I'm taking risks. Like I'm going for it. So anyways, I wish I would have
Yeah, slowing down is not what you
it's
wanted to
not what I want
do
to do.
at that moment.
And honestly, you're going so fast. The being fast on the technical terrain, as I'm sure our listeners know, is actually what you want to be. Like you want to be light on your feet and fast. Like you can't slow down or that's when you stumble, right? Because if your foot, clips a root like it did for me a couple times actually. But if it does that, then it's going to be more likely if you're moving really fast that you're able to catch yourself. So that's usually how I handle technical terrain. Anyway, so that's just was a big learning. I wish at the crude aid stations, I took down 1 or 2 gels, just like pounded them because I needed it, frankly. This was actually clutch. There was one section that I had a precision fuel and hydration chew that we've been talking about on here. And I just took a chunk of it and put it in my cheek, like in my gum. And it was during that time I had been feeling like a little nauseous. And I think that's also why I wasn't pushing carbs so much because of my history, and our listeners know the history of my gut, I just didn't want to have a blow up. Like, I'm going to risk and go lower on carbs so I'm not just throwing up this whole time. So I think there was a little bit of that where I'm like, oh, I'm going to go more like 50 grams an hour versus my typical 80 to 90 grams an hour this race. And I'm going to be okay with it because I don't want to have all this GI upset. And I do wish I aimed a little bit higher. Like that would have helped me for sure. But I didn't throw up and I didn't have any GI distress. So yay, that's a win. But that chew in my gum really was like, I will do that forevermore for sure at UTMB. When you're not really wanting to eat, it's like you're not eating. It's just kind of in there. It's horrible for your gums. I mean,
I was going to say every dentist is listening to this is like dying.
Terrified. Oh my God.
But
you
it's short term,
and you're like slowly absorbing. You're still absorbing. And then it gets so soft that you just sort of like consume it without even noticing. So bad for your teeth. And that really helps me. So
I mean, there's many parts of trail running where you're just like,
this is not
I
helping.
understand that this is good as far as like I'm moving my body and I'm exercising, but there's many things about this that are like not
So
good.
bad. So bad. Yeah.
It's okay. You do what you have to
It's
do,
okay.
Katie.
And then I brushed my teeth really well after the race.
Yeah, totally. There you go. That's what matters.
just-
Well, I'm glad that you were able to like figure it out. And I do want to say, and I think it's important, it's like we stick to these numbers in training where things are controlled. And you have the ability to be like, I can execute my 80 grams of carbs an hour and everything's great. When you get into a race scenario and everything goes out the window, which inevitably does, I think the ability to just be like, this is good enough. Sometimes mentally it's like, yeah, like it's good enough. And it's like, yeah, it's not what you train for, but you can do it on 50 grams an hour. That's actually what we used to do a few years ago before we bumped up to the higher carb limits. And I just think sometimes it's easy to get stuck in our heads as just far like, this is what I train for. This is what I need to do. I'm failing if I didn't do this. But like one of my biggest moments that I always think about is from Hard Rock when I was like puking and couldn't get anything in. And the first aid gal gave me like a package of Mentos and looked me in the eye and she's like, I ran 60 miles of this race last year on this package of Mentos. And she's like, they're 10 calories each. Like you just do what you have to do and you just like, you make it work. And I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like it's just, I don't know. I think those moments are really important to highlight because it's like, you recognize that just putting that chew in your mouth, while it's not the same as like pounding a gel every 20 minutes, it was what you could do in the moment and it kept you going.
Right.
And that's enough, right?
It's
like
enough.
It's not perfect,
it wasn't
but
enough
it's
for
enough.
ticket. And I will say, looking
No.
back, I wish I was able to take down at least a gel at both aid stations where I just like downed it real quick, because there are some learnings there. Like, yes, I hear you in the running 60 miles with Mentos. I've also done that sort of thing.
Not
I
great.
learned the last,
Not great.
last 40 of Western states on zero calories. It's not recommended and it's just not as fun. I feel like I definitely, once you start like fueling not as well, like the first half of the race, I was fueling I was probably around 70 carbs an hour, which was good. And I was like, let's just stick here. And then I missed a couple of gels in there after that. And that's when I was like, oh, darn. So I'm not blaming my race on that. I don't know how much faster I could have gone. How could I have gone a ticket? I don't know. But what I do know is that the competitors ahead of me did nail it. Right. So it's like, whatever, or maybe they didn't, maybe they could have gone even faster if they didn't, but whatever it was, that was a learning for me. And I'm still learning. I'm a professional athlete. I train on this. I think about this constantly. I've been doing this for over a decade. I'm feeling like way over a decade. And I feel like I want to tell our listeners that even though you've been doing it for so long, the puzzles still come. Like the heat of the moment with racing, things slip, things don't go according to plan. And like, that's a part of the sport almost, right? Like being able to dial it perfectly with your nutritionist and your pacing is so impossible. Like it's really hard to do that. And you have to listen to your body. You can't constantly just be like thinking back to your spreadsheet, right? Like you're living in the moment and you're listening to your body and you're doing what you can. I think if I did force too many carbs, I think I probably would have had a GI distress out there. So I think that it's, you'll never know entirely, but I do think there's this beauty and almost this transcendent part of racing that when you listen to yourself in that moment and don't think about all the things that are coming out you, all the outputs that are just pushing themselves on you, like you need to hit these splits, you need to hit this target for nutrition, hydration, and just listening, I think is a really big part of the sport. I also think there's something to be said about forcing it sometimes. And I wish I forced it maybe a couple times and just got it down, even when it didn't feel right, just to be able to get the carbs in. So, I think there's a balance there between listening and being present and grounded with your body and also being like, you have to get this in. And you're kind of delusional about how you're feeling right now because it's not in your body. Like you'll be less delusional about what you need if you actually consume this carb. So just fuel.
Everything will be better.
Everything will be better. Just take it in.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's tough. And I think I talked to some athletes after Black Canyon who suffered with GI distress that I've been in touch with through my journey. And man, it's just a puzzle. Like, we're professionals. We should be nailing this stuff, and we practice with it. And then come race day, sometimes it changes. So, it's fun to keep trying. I think that is the
That is what
goal.
keeps it
Keep
interesting,
moving
right? And
forward.
whether
Yeah. Yep.
whether it's the terrain, whether it's the weather, whether it's whatever it is, there's always something on race day that's going to throw a wrench in our carefully laid plans. And like you said, you just have to be able to pivot and adapt and do your best. And like you said, sometimes you kind of do have to give yourself a bit of that tough love of like pushing yourself as well. So it's a constant formula, you know. I don't know anyone that's got it figured out. You like you said, you might have a perfect race, but that doesn't guarantee that you've got it figured out in general
Well, I think
either.
that's where the greats come in. I think it's really fun to look to Ruth Croft and be like, man, whatever it is, she's able to manage it. Katie Scheid, Courtney, like it's really humbling to watch these
Mm.
women for me that I've been able to have it dialed. Though I will say, Ruth dropped out of a race last year because she was so cold, and then she fixed it at UTMB. So I think there is this, even the greats are constantly learning. But it feels like they have perfect races all the time, and that's not always the case. And, everybody's learning all the time. And so, the people that are writing the textbooks, the people that are, informing coaches on how to coach, don't always have it figured out. So, yeah, that's what makes this sport so fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I love just like getting to dissect it all with you, Katie, and I love your attitude towards it all. I think it's super healthy and you have such amazing things to look forward to. You learned so much from this,
Much.
like you said, and it's new things you're learning. That's the good news. It's not the same mistakes. We're making new mistakes, or we're having new learnings, and that's
No
like also
mistakes.
but, like, I think that's actually really exciting. I think what's frustrating is when you have the same thing and you're like, "I still can't
Yes.
get through this thing." But for you, you've done so much work and you have figured out so many things, and the things that came up were in many ways out of your control, and you controlled your attitude towards them, which I think is the most powerful thing you could do,
Yes.
and you showed up,
Yeah.
and, like,
Yeah. Hell, I think
that's
that's what
something
I'm
to be
most
really
proud
proud
of,
of.
honestly, is my mental side. Like, I had so much fun. Like, I was
Yeah.
giddy, I was light, I was playful, and also I was like really focused and super driven and really motivated to get to that finish line as fast as possible. So it wasn't like I ever lost the belief that I could
Mm.
get the ticket. Like, I was still pushing as hard as I could, and I was loving it. Like, I was like, the amount of times I left the first crude aid station and I was like, "Ah, I'm having so much fun." And Pete's like, "Run faster."
Less
Stop wasting
talking.
energy on your fun, Katie, go, but it was just, I was having so much fun from the like crazy of it all. And I think that mental part is such a gift because I think it is easy to spiral when you have big goals and maybe it's not going according to plan. But I just wouldn't let it. I'm just not letting that anymore. That's one thing that I think I've mastered is like, I'm just not going to be disappointed because I trust myself so deeply that I'm going to give my best on that day, whatever it is, that it doesn't matter. I'm going to be proud of the day because I'm going to give my best and I know I'll give my best. So that feels really good. So,
That is so freeing.
yes,
That is such a freeing feeling,
yes,
and I just love it for you so much because that's like a life affirming
yeah,
attitude, you know? Like, that's not just a in the moment in the race, that's like a, "I am choosing to live my life like this, and I'm choosing to, like, enter in," and you feel things deeply, Katie, I love this about you, you feel it all, you let it all in, but you also, like and it can be hard because that's vulnerable and that's scary, and sometimes you put it out there and it doesn't work out, but then also, how beautiful is it to get to feel it all, and how beautiful is it to have these moments when you're running along in the rain and you're screaming because like life is wild and here you are on your 30th birthday like just sloshing through puddles and like it's just there's sort of like you can always look at it two ways, and I just love that you're really choosing to just enter into the whole experience, and I just I feel inspired by your attitude. I
I think
do.
it's an opportunity to recognize how amazing this sport is and how much it's taught me in my everyday life. I really think that it does translate to my everyday life so brilliantly, where I always expect that I will always do my best in my everyday. And I think the sport has taught me that. And some days aren't great, right? Like, so we don't always have perfect days. Like, we can get really, like, whatever. We have down days, we have low days. Our country's a mess, like all the things, right? And I know personally that I have that strength in me. And I think the sport has given me that. So I think I owe a lot to the sport, the community, and the challenges that these long distances have given my body. I don't know if I could get those sort of depths for me, like not all people. This is speaking for me. For me, ultras give me that where
Hmm.
if it was shorter, I think I wouldn't learn as much because for me, it's like the length of the time. It like takes time to really settle into all those learnings. So, yeah, I don't know. I love the sport and I'm really, really happy that my foot's not broken and I can do it again. So honestly, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you got through this huge training block without injury, feeling good. You had an amazing time out there, and you have something equally incredible to look forward to.
so excited.
Like
Yes.
not exactly a consolation prize when you get to go run around the Alps and like have the most
Right.
incredible time out there. So that's exciting. I'm excited for you to just like also see you get to lean into that training and how different it is and
So
the
different.
things to learn, things to think about, like polls, like time to bring them back.
Well, and I talked like Abby Hall was like how she was, I want to run Black Canyon. This is my backyard. I mean, why would I not train on this? This is the easiest training I can get is in my backyard and it happens to be Black Canyon. How cool. For me, I live in the Eastern Sierra. Like why? I mean, for me, I'm driving down to Bishop. Of course, right now it's winter, of course, right? But to get in speed work and it's all about like running fast. But some of this stuff is like up and down these hills just to like run up hard and then descend hard on repeat, like 25 miles doing that up and down. It's like fun because I love the grind, but also like how cool to actually use your backyard as training ground for your purpose, like for your next goal. Like
For
UTMB
your A
and Eastern
race.
Sierra is perfect, right? I mean, Hard Rock and UTMB would be Eastern Sierra would be perfect too. So it's just this idea of like, I live in the mountains, use it, and I can't right now because obviously as we get closer to summer. So right now it's just about staying fit and putting in big efforts on runnable stuff right now. And then come like June, July, it'll be all about mountain season, which I'm so excited to like really embrace the Eastern Sierra, and do like massive days in the backcountry. So I'm like really pumped on that. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's cool, and I do think there's something to be said for really switching the terrain and the focus, and that's just gonna, like, bring you a lot of joy to get to go on trails that you've maybe, like, not even thought about because they didn't fit into the training plan, and, like yeah, like you said, the Eastern Sierra is such a playground.
yeah. It's such a playground. Well, I mean, some of my friends here, they're like, no, Katie wouldn't want to do that because I like to run. I don't want to just hike, not just hike.
Right.
I like to run. So I
I
choose
love hiking,
backcountry
Katie.
adventures that are runnable. Like my favorite backcountry looks at like I love the JMT because it's like lots of runnable sections. But there's a lot of in the Eastern Sierra that I haven't done because there's so much hiking involved. But now I get to do it. So it's like a new skill, really. So
Totally. Yeah.
right? Anyway.
I mean, I had so much fun with that with Hard Rock. I was finding
Yes.
every weird random hill in LA, like weird spine up whatever that I could just
Well,
hike
and you
up
were
and you're
dealing
just
with
like
the
laughing.
fires. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
everything was burned down, so you really had limited terrain to work with. Yeah.
Speaking of, so the trail that's like right up the street from me, there's this great like little trail loop called Runyon Canyon, which is ironically where all the paparazzi and the celebrities go to hike. But that's my little like local get out the door and go for a little run. And the West Trail was the part that burned. So when the fires were like really close to me, which was really scary because they were like 2 miles up the road burning, and it's been closed ever since. And they just reopened it this week. And so I went up there this morning and it's so great, and it's, like, in great shape, and I love that they gave it time to come back, and everything's green, and there's flowers, and it's such a, like, great little hill burn, like, it's, only, like, a mile and a half hill, but it's, like it's punchy, and I was so happy because that's my little, like, fit it in before I work for the day type of, like, loop, and anyways,
Ugh,
it was really nice. I had a little moment this morning of just being like, it's been a crazy 14 months since the fires, but, like, I so appreciate this trail, and
yes.
this is, like and I think we all have that. You have your little, like, "This is my comfort thing." It's not the most impressive, it's not the hardest, it's not the longest, but it's like, "This is just my little thing I do," and to have it back again is really, really nice. That
Yeah.
was my fun little morning. I got
I
to go
love
and
that,
be
Hilary.
like,
Yeah.
"It's open again."
It's
And Charlie
open
was
and
so
the flowers.
excited.
It's been time for wildflower season too. Oh my
They're
gosh.
popping, and the snow is, like, on the mountains, like so I'm looking at the Hollywood sign, and there's snow-capped mountains behind the Hollywood sign, and I'm like, "LA is ridiculously pretty
It's beautiful.
when it decides to be."
It's beautiful,
Yeah,
especially in the
it's beautiful.
mountains, right? The
Yeah,
sitting on the
that was
10
cool.
traffic is less fun, but
Less fun. Yeah, no, it depends on where you are, but it was just, like, nice to be
Ah,
reminded of that.
quick break from the show to thank Osprey. Huge shout out to Osprey Luggage for being the durable, sturdy packs you can depend on. After traveling across the world as a family, we could not recommend the Transporter series more. We have several, and we were able to fit way more than we expected. And honestly, having a duffel bag that compressed for storage traveling was critical. Get yours at www.osprey.com. Now back to the show.
Before we finish up, I wanna just, like, I know you took, like, another week after the race and just, like, had time with your family and just how is that sort of, like, rest of the trip? Did you have disappointment? Do you feel like it took you a while to, like, come around, or just did you feel like you could let it go and just be present? Like, where was your kinda mind at after the race and then having that time post-race?
So I will speak for right after the race, like not at all. Like I was stoked, like I mentioned, to get fifth with that field and with my effort that I threw down. It was the best I could do on that day. And I was ecstatic that I came out of that honestly without torn ligaments and like no broken bones because it was so treacherous at times. And it was fun to stand on the podium because top five got, called up and that was really fun. And just felt like yeah, I was proud of myself. And then honestly is like on to the next. So I felt great because my body was worked, which is always a fun feeling when you're like, I gave it my all. Um, it was very distracting with the kids and felt very much thrown back into parenthood. But I will say I had a moment. So I just got back. We're recording on Tuesday and we got back late Sunday night. And on my computer, I have I have it right here, this little laminated elevation profile of Western States, which I had come across when I was cleaning my office before I left. And I had put it on top of my computer. And I walked into my
Yeah.
office and I was just like, like it was a little bit of like a gift to myself for when I got home to be like, hell yeah, you did it. And so it was a little bit of a sting to get home and see that and be like, you didn't do it, like, and I think, and I kind of teared up, but I smiled through it going like, you did your all, and I went to Pete and I like held it up and he like gave me this big hug and we both know how much that race means to me. So I don't want to say I'm not disappointed. Of course I wanted it and I really am excited about the next chapter and about this new mountain season for me, which I've never really trained for big mountain races like this. So I feel I really have accepted it. Um, and yet this morning I'm looking at like, what should I do for spring since I'm not racing states? Like, what should my spring, and Pete's like, I mean, you could still do Canyons 100K and just like go in it for training, and I'm like, oh, Pete, don't say it.
Don't even say it.
Like,
Bite
honey,
your
we've
tongue.
moved on. We've accepted. And he's like, no, I didn't mean it for like ticket chasing. And I'm like, oh my God.
Could
So
you do it and not think about that
I'm like,
though?
honey,
Like,
that's
that
not
was
an option. I was like,
impossible.
maybe I'll do like the 50K. Anyways, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm totally undecided.
Bless his heart.
Not announcing anything. But it was a funny thing where I'm like, oh my God, like you just can't escape it because it's just around me. It's omnipresent.
Yeah.
But I will be there for sure at Western States this year, and that will be it'll be really fun to be a part of it again in a new way. So yeah, it will. Yeah, the sting is
It's just
there,
human to have these moments.
you'll
You
just love
care so
yeah,
much.
you care so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, and I think it's actually important because, like, in a sense, afterwards, you had so many fun things to focus on that you could just, like, dive in.
right,
And then there's always gonna be a little bit of that moment of just like, "Okay, now we gotta sit with, like, what next?" And, like, you put so much energy into this particular thing, and so I think it's just part of accepting that is really recognizing, "Yeah, this hurts, this is disappointing." You could be proud of your race and still disappointed that you don't get that outcome, Like, it's all complex. We're
it's
complex.
all complex. Yeah, but honestly,
Yeah.
I feel good. Like I'm not just saying this for the pod. Honestly,
Yeah,
like I'm in a really good
I believe
place.
you.
But I do think it's human to have that little bit of a roller coaster, and it felt good to sort of feel it again. Because it's cool to care. Hell, it's cool to care.
It is. It's cool to care. Let's make caring cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm proud of you, Katie. It was so much fun to go through your race with you. And you're 40 now. So I want to just like, we didn't talk about this before, but like just thinking about entering into a new decade, and where do you feel like you're excited to go? Things that you're like excited to take with you from your 30s, things that you're like
Yeah.
excited to learn more about as you enter into a new decade. What's sort of like the vibe check around the new decade?
It's
Sorry to
funny
put
to
you on
be
the
a
spot.
master, like, I'm a master's runner, what? But I'm so far from wanting to go after master's records. I'm like, "No, I'm still wanna compete with the 20-year-olds," but I will say it was very fun to go up on stage, after the race and receive my, 40 to 45-year-old age group award.
Oh, that's so funny.
I was like, "Oh, I made it by literally one day."
Do you have that little gulp of just like, well, life, like
Okay,
you're
I
kind of
got first
funny
place
sometimes.
in the 40s. Good job.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. That was a
I
little
kind
bit
of
of a
love it.
reality check. But it was fun too, where it's like, this is it. Like I'm 40. And I think I've been preparing myself to be 40 for so long because we've been planning for this trip. So I'm like, I've been like owning 40. And yeah, I think the 30s was a lot of like we didn't know where we were gonna raise our kids. There was a lot of fluctuation in our lives. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot like we had my stepfather died, Pete's mom died. Like there was a lot of kind of hard times also in the 30s, and there I'm sure there will be in the 40s, but it feels like the 30s was this big chapter of trying to figure out our identity as a family. And I think moving to Mammoth Lakes and having our community here and knowing we're raising our kids here and just feeling really close to my kids feels so good to be heading into the next decade in like a really, I don't care really about what other people think of me or being relevant or trying to impress anyone. Like I feel very much in my own and that feels really good. I think really being confident about yeah, my relationships here and like still being madly in love with my husband and just feeling really close to the kids. I think that's really helpful, like just really important to me. I think if I felt at all disjointed because I have in the past where you feel unbalanced, where you're like working really hard and in medicine and also trying to run and also trying to parent and also trying to be a wife and just it felt like so much. And I feel like now it's like I can take a deep breath and be like, okay, like I'm feeling a little more settled where I'm at. Um, and maybe that's year two of taking off from medicine, which feels wild. But also maybe it's that idea of, this isn't going to last forever and trying to really hold on to the moments of these kids being little and embracing that. And, Pete and I decided we're going to spend, I'm going to spend a month in Chamonix this year, which is wild. The kids are going to come out for like 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. Like we're just going to kind of no
So
regrets right
fun.
now. And we know that this all isn't going to last for forever. And so we're just like, let's have fun with this. Let's lean in, have fun, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. And like, I don't know. I think that's where the 40s are going to feel, I hope, continue to feel um, like I'm past the big injuries and all the surgeries and all the moving and all like all of that stuff. Hopefully I'm through that and we can be a little bit more stable in the 40s, but you know how life is. I'll get thrown curveballs for sure. Uh
You will, but you've
so
got the tools. You really like built that. And that's, I think, what the 30s are for. And it's like,
yeah.
I think especially for women, like we get placed under so much scrutiny from like the time we're teenagers, like societal pressures, all the things. I kind of like I'm so sad when I think of how much energy I've put into like caring about what other people think or like trying to fit into a certain mold or thinking about how I look in relation to other people. And you really realize as you get older how little that stuff matters. You really do. And it's like sounds cliched, but it really like you just don't give a shit. And it's so
We're
nice.
all trying our best all the time, people. Like it's not perfect. And we're just, I think that you lean into the people in your life, in your circles, you
They'll love
do.
you the way you are.
Yeah, who will love you no
Yeah.
matter what. Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel
No,
you.
I love that. I think that's like amazing energy to take into your 40s. I love you, Katie. I think you are just a wonderful human
Yeah.
and I learn a lot from you. And you've learned a lot. I hope you're proud. I know you're proud of it. And I'm really excited to see you tackle UTMB with your whole heart, as I know you will. And just like the chance to get out on new terrain and like that's what I loved about Hard Rock last year was I got to train on really cool
Yes.
terrain.
Yes.
And I think for you, like you said, having that in your backyard is going to be so much fun. So I'm really excited to see that unfold for you. And yeah, lots of big goals for our listeners. I feel like the summer is going to be really fun and a lot of learnings and adventures and things that we can lean into and hopefully share a little bit as we go. So just beginning,
Yeah,
just
thanks, Hill.
beginning.
Thanks for chatting it up with me. It was nice to have a little bit of
Oh my
closure
God.
to that race and that time. And onwards, on to the next. And thanks, listeners, for coming
Tuck
along for the
that
ride.
tuck that elevation profile away for next year. It'll still be there.
Yeah,
The elevation profile won't change. I guarantee it'll still be hot and hard.
that's right. Just
Yeah,
more and
no,
more competitive. I'm like, dang it, I really wanted to get in this year because every year is going to get crazier and crazier, which is the point.
yeah,
I want it to be
that's the
competitive. I
point.
don't mean it that way, but man.
Yeah,
Woo!
but you keep believing in yourself because
Yeah,
you're also leveling up as everyone else is. And so it's like it's all happening together. So I'm excited.
thanks,
Thank you,
Hill.
Katie. I love your honesty. I hope everyone got something out of this. I feel like I'm inspired to just like go full send and, yeah, it's a good way to live life. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on the podcast today. It was so much fun to chat with Katie. I have this giant smile on my face. I hope you do as well. Huge shout out to our partners on the pod today. We have Precision Fuel and Hydration. You can use the code TTMP15 for 15% off your order. We'll drop that code in the show notes as well. And also a special thanks to Osprey Packs for all of your support. They have been our longest standing partner on the podcast, you guys. From day one, even before day one, Osprey was with us and supporting us and believing in us. And we just want to thank them for their ongoing support and lots of new packs out for spring right now. So please head to their website to check them all out. Thank you to all of our listeners. Honestly, we love it. I get so much joy out of hearing from you guys, from the feedback we get. We want to hear who you want on the podcast. We want to hear your thoughts. So you can send us a DM. You can leave us a comment on Spotify. We sometimes figure out how to read them, but we do try. And yeah, we love hearing from you guys. So thank you for being part of the journey with us. All right. Until next time,